Delaware County's only live television newscast from Ball State University's Unified Media Newsroom. You're watching NewsLink Indiana Midday.
Welcome to NewsLink Indiana Midday. I'm Emma Matlock. The Ball State women's basketball team season has come to an end. Over the weekend, the MAC champion Cardinals lost to Ole Miss in the NCAA tournament in Waco, Texas. But even though the loss ended the season on a down note, NewsLink Indiana's Max Robson reports there is still a lot to celebrate.
Coach would tell you, when you get a group like that, you just count your lucky stars. And, you know, I'm old enough and have been through this long enough that I really took time this year to appreciate them.
And although they might have lost to Ole Miss in the round of 64, Madeline Bischoff will always remember this year.
Definitely memorable for the rest of my life. But something I'm never going to forget, especially this team with all my teammates, coaches. It still doesn't feel real. It feels like I'm coming to practice in 2 days.
And after 4 years, Brady Salley might have been their head coach, but he ended up learning a lot more from them instead.
I think with these four in particular, these 4 years with this group in particular, I've learned how to kind of trust them and just get out of the way at times.
And just because the season ended on a loss, there's nothing but gratitude from Bischoff and Salih.
I'm so glad that I got to finish, my last year of basketball with my best friends, and we accomplished everything we wanted to, and I'm forever grateful for that.
So proud of them. So happy for them that they got to end it in the NCAA tournament.
The Cardinals will be back in action next year, looking to repeat their success. In Waco, Max Robson, NewsLink, Indiana.
Now, after defeating Ball State on Friday night, Ole Miss beat Baylor yesterday and will go on to the NCAA Sweet 16. Now let's take a look at today's NewsLink Indiana weather. These are the conditions right now. It is 44 degrees under sunny skies. Expect lots of sunshine, and it will be windy today with a high in the lower 50s. Things will slowly warm up in the 7-day forecast. Highs will peak in the 70s on Friday with several chances of rain. Tax day is April 15th, but that's not the only reason the IRS is in the headlines today. It's reportedly negotiating a way to coordinate with the Department of Homeland Security to assist with immigration enforcement. The IRS encourages people in the U.S. illegally to pay income taxes. Of course, millions of American citizens do so each year. The IRS usually guards tax filer information from disclosure. Amy Kiley reports, working with immigration officials could represent a loosening of these protections.
I have real privacy concerns here.
The IRS and Department of Homeland Security appear closer to finalizing an information sharing agreement. A person familiar with the matter says it would enable ICE to submit names and addresses of people who might be in the U.S. illegally. The source says the IRS could then cross-reference and confirm that information.
The goal of this appears to be speeding up President Trump's deportation effort.
The president's supporters say his immigration policies are what voters want.
You have an administration and a president that is strong in their conviction that they have a mandate from the voters to act, particularly on the issue of illegal immigration.
Critics say involving the IRS could endanger taxpayer privacy. The agency works under laws that usually prohibit the release of personal information.
There is a process in place for a court to look at that and decide whether or not that information should be released.
This legal analyst notes President Donald Trump's attorneys fought in court to keep his own tax records private.
And there was this huge claim that there would be, in fact, that this was some privacy information that shouldn't be let out under federal law. And so that's really the issue here.
Many taxpayers have common names like John Smith. Advocates argue that could cause errors if the IRS worked with ICE.
We're inevitably going to be encroaching on the taxes and the privacy of American citizens.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
The U.S. has quietly dropped charges against a key alleged MS-13 leader and returned him to El Salvador. Authorities say Cesar Umbero Lopez Larios was part of the violent gang's top leadership group. He was arrested last year and charged by federal prosecutors in Brooklyn. U.S. investigators believe he has information that could implicate Salvadorian government officials in possibly corrupt deals with the gang. Lopez Larios was deported on a flight earlier this month. It's a deal that would benefit Salvadorian President Nayib Bukele, who President Trump calls a friend. By mid-July, the United States may not be able to pay its bills on time unless Congress acts on the debt ceiling. That's according to a projection released Monday by the Bipartisan Policy Center. The center said exactly when the so-called X-date hits depends greatly on the revenue collected in the current tax season. The strength of the economy, new revenue from tariffs, and changes in spending by Congress or reductions in the federal budget could also have an impact. The U.S. hit its roughly $36 trillion debt limit on January 21st, which forced the Treasury Department to use accounting maneuvers and the cash it has on hand to pay the government's bills to avoid a first-ever default. The Treasury Department says it will extend those measures through June 27th to give Congress time to address the debt ceiling. Thousands of people across the country participated in rallies outside of their local post offices on Sunday, after the United States Postal Service postmaster announced thousands of jobs will be cut in the coming weeks. Brady Wakayama reports.
We shall not be moved. On a wet Sunday afternoon, hundreds of United States postal workers in the state are working on their day off. We are the union. We shall not be moved. Working to deliver this message.
Fight like hell! Fight like hell! Fight like hell!
Fight like hell means we need to get out there and fight like hell to protect our post office. This is a nationwide rally.
One more time.
Kevin Gottlieb has been a letter carrier for nearly 40 years. He's also the president of Branch 79 in Seattle within the National Association of Letter Carriers, the union representing postal workers. It's spearheading these types of rallies across the country, including 9 throughout Washington.
A lot of them are terrified, and I'm terrified.
It comes after the Postmaster General of USPS, Louis DeJoy, released this letter earlier this month, saying he plans on teaming up with DOJ to make changes, addressing what he calls is the mismanagement of USPS retirement assets and its workers' compensation program, along with addressing regulatory requirements that he describes as restricting normal business practice. But the biggest concern from many are plans to cut 10,000 workers by mid-April.
And they're wondering, do I have a job going here in the next few weeks or months or whatever? And
he believes it's not only a threat for their jobs, but a threat to communities nationwide.
It could be delays of service. It could be days of no service. It could be you might have to come pick up mail. It's all the unknown right now.
Concerns that resonate with many others like Susan Ham, who relies on the postal services.
It really will destroy much of our country.
Postal workers we spoke with are hopeful that will be prevented if people reach out to their senators and plead with the public to show their support.
Slowly, people are rising up, and if the Congress is so stymied they can't do anything, then it's up to the people.
Gene testing firm 23andMe has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. In a statement announcing the bankruptcy, the board's chair said they determined a court-supervised sale process is the best path forward. The statement added that its CEO had resigned effective immediately. The bankruptcy filing comes after 23andMe struggled for years to find a sustainable business model. Its core product, an at-home DNA testing kit, offered personalized genetic insights. 23andMe tried to convert one-time buyers into subscribers, but reportedly fell far short of its goals. It's not known yet what will happen to all of the genetic data 23andMe currently possesses if the sale is finalized. And that's your NewsLink webcast for today. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to join us tonight at 6:57 Ball State PBS. And for news anywhere, anytime, go to ballstatedaily.com.